Let's get into it. So we want to start today a little high level, kind of, you know, at Ekotrope, why are we involved in QA? Why do we have this tool? What is also just like the value of ResNet QA in general? Like what are we kind of talking about big picture here beyond just how many checklists can you complete and how many do you need? We'll get into that as well, but we wanted to start a little high level. So we have this concept rock solid QA. So what does that mean? Well, it does not mean tracking down data and documentation from multiple sources. I have my Dropbox folder for photos. I have my inspection tool for inspections. I have my Ekotrope model. I have my manual J. I have my plan set. I have all these different sources of information, and I need to spend a lot of time tracking down all of them and making sure they're all nicely compiled together. That's not an efficient use of a QAD's time. You know, Proofreading data entry. If you are spending your time as a QAD making sure, hey, the number that was put in your inspection form or was on your tech tape report is the same number that showed up in Ekotrope. That's not really adding a lot of value to a HERS rating. That's not making buildings better necessarily. That's proofreading. That's part of what we're hoping to alleviate with QA Track and kind of our North Star in terms of what we're trying to do with this tool. Rock Solid QA is analyzing and responding to the highest impact problems on a rating, mentoring, teaching, and coaching inspectors and modelers. Oftentimes, QADs are some of the most experienced and high-ranking employees at HERS rating companies. So, we want their time to be spent on training, working with builders, working with coworkers, not proofreading and tracking down what folder a certain photo is in. Their time is very valuable. Uh, you know, Rock Solid QA is authenticated data input flows. Much like you build an Ekotrope energy model and we have automated QA checks to say, hey, do I pass IECC 2024? Can there be automated checks for some of the more administrative aspects of the ResNet QA process? Um, you know, and I guess lastly, eliminating duplicate data entry. It's like that is just, uh, from our perspective, somewhat wasted time in our industry. QA should follow the process that your team uses. You shouldn't, have to build your rating process around, um, you know, the QA rules. So that's kind of big picture what we're trying to do with QA Track and how we think about it. To drill down a little bit, what is QA Track? Fundamentally, it does two things. It automates the tracking of what projects need to have QA done and ensure that you stay on pace with your ResNet requirements and give you peace of mind that uh, you'll come to the end of the year or the end of the quarter and be in compliance with the ResNet rules. That's goal. That's one goal. The other goal is to bring the QA checklist into Ekotrope and make filling it out easy, give you one source of truth, basically speed up your process for QA. So it's peace of mind and it's efficiency. That's really the two main goals of QA Track today. Yeah, less friction, more accuracy, faster reviews. Um, yeah. To drill down even further, there have been a number of updates in 2026. So some very specific updates we've done this year. Uh, there is a new QA Track dashboard with the addition of the NQA and the DQA and how all that works. We've kind of refactored how the dashboard works. Yeah, we track NQA and DQA. Uh, the file QA process has remained pretty similar to what it has been. You can now assign QA reviews to specific inspectors. Uh, you can also, um, we're tracking how many QAs have been submitted to ResNet, not um, just kind of a status that you assign to it. And there's more updates planned. So this is just what we've done so far this year. All right. We're going to go into a demo here. Give me one moment while I work the screen share around a little bit. All right. So can everyone see Ekotrope now? You should be good in here. All right. So QA Track, it basically integrates QA into Ekotrope Rater. The first thing I'll start with is it adds a few search facets so that you can more easily identify projects you're working on and projects that you plan to do QA for. So a few fields we have QA status. When most projects will have a QA status of none, uh, you can also mark projects for QA. Marking projects for QA can also be automated. We'll get into that, where just file QA projects are automatically selected, so you don't have to worry about that. Then, you can have them in progress, needs revision, passed, failed. Um, and these are, for your organization. So maybe I want to say, hey, I have QA track set up to grab a random 10% of projects for file QA. Let me search. So I'm going to say, hey, marked for QA. Maybe I'll use another QA search facet called QA type, where I can search by the type of QA I'm doing. So I'm going to say, okay, show me projects that have been marked for HERS file QA. Okay. Then, maybe I work at a large rating organization and I want to do QA for a specific user. I can then go, okay, rater of record, Harrison. And boom. Okay. Now I have a list of projects to work off of. Okay. Um, so I'm going to go in here and open up a project, and you can see here's the QA status and here's the QA type. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to go ahead and open up this building design. So one thing that's really nice about QA Track, similar to this quick results panel that you can toggle off and on, you can also have a QA Track panel that you can toggle off and on. So I'm actually going to get rid of this quick results. So there's two tabs on this QA Track panel. There's QA info, where you can set your QA status, you can set your QA types, you can say who completed the QA, and the date it's being completed on. Also, any corrective actions. You can ignore this field. This is an Ekotrope admin field. The other tab is the checklists themselves. So when you click on here, you can see, hey, I have the file QA, I have the field QA, and I have the pre-drywall QA checklists. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with the file QA checklist for now. And I'm able to see all of the questions from the ResNet file QA checklist. And I can go ahead and start answering them. Hey, looks good. Not so good. Not so good. Oh, this is a required field or a required answer, a required question, and it automatically trips a failure. Also, your score here is automatically updated based on the entries you put in here. You can also leave comments. So if I wanted to leave a comment saying, I could do that. Let me keep scrolling down to the bottom. Something we have that folks tend to like is, you can kind of just go through here and mark things that are incorrect or unsatisfactory or missing or basically anything other than the answer of satisfactory. Then you get down to the bottom and we have a button here that says mark unset items as satisfactory. So I've done my review, I've checked for everything that's wrong, and instead of having to click satisfactory, 30 times, I can click this button. Boom, we're good to go. If I have to do QA on HVAC grading, I have this here as well. I have this checklist. Can also add custom items if there's specific items I want to call out to the rater. I can do that. Also, all of the ResNet guidance on all of these is outlined right here. So any of these questions I can get quick answers on. Some of these have longer ones. So yeah, so it opens up this little pop-up here. Lastly, we have some actions we can take down here. So first off, you can save your checklist. Saving your checklist is different from saving your project. So it's an important thing to know. I can share this checklist. So if I click share, I can say, hey, I'm going to share my file QA checklist. I'm going to share it with Zach, the rater of record. So I'm able to, this will send them an email with a link basically saying, hey, your QA checklist has been shared from your QAD. Take a look. And I can go ahead and do that. That way, raters can be notified when that happens.
Patrick, really quick.
Mhm.
I accidentally clicked answer live on a question, and so I want to make sure I answer it live. But the
Okay.
question was on a QA question. Uh, how do you select that it was both unsatisfactory and they were missing a photo for one of those questions that requires photos?
hmm
So maybe look at blower door result or infiltration.
hmm So I can mark unsatisfactory plus missing a photo right there.
Great. Ryan, let me know if that didn't answer your question. Another question, we'll get it closed out.
Yeah. Um, Great. So that's share, that's save. The other button we have is submit to ResNet. So this submits the QA checklist to ResNet in the same method that the ResNet QA app submits it. We're using the exact same API endpoint. I'm going to go ahead and submit to ResNet. And much like when you register a project, we run a lot of automated QA checks here. Um, we'll say right now we will be lifting this requirement. Right now, uh, pretty soon you will not be required to have the project registered before submitting the checklist. But basically, you can do that, and then you can submit to ResNet just like you would submit a rating to ResNet. And then, okay, I did the file QA. Let's say I was also doing the field QA. I can do that. Oh, it looks like I did that earlier. Maybe I'm doing a pre-drywall QA, and I can access that checklist right here as well. So basically brings your whole QA checklist right here into the app. Um, David, anything to add before I move on to the dashboard? Oh, I guess
Uh,
I do have one thing actually.
hmm.
Uh, this is the QAD's review or view. If you are a rater and you do not have the QA role, you will be able to see the QA tab here, but all of these fields will be read-only. So you will not be able to change a QA, an answer to a question, or add any comments, but you can read all of that. So basically, when I share this checklist with my rater, they can log in and see everything I marked for their QA. They just won't be able to edit it. All right, awesome. Uh, well, I'm going to back out here. And I'm now gonna go into so that's kind of QA track, the one part of trying to speed up your process, brings it into Ekotrope, and The other area is the QA track dashboard. And I'm going to hand it over to David for this section.
All right. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, so this is the dashboard that helps you see how much QA, NQA, DQA you need to do for each of your raters, RFIs, and field inspectors. So this is similar to Kibana from ResNet. And this right now, what you see on the screen, has a lot of raters. It shows all of the raters in the organization, and as an Ekotrope kind of admin, as Patrick is, he's seen a few more people than he you would normally.
Yeah.
And uh, this is the place that you can go to see exactly how much file QA you need to do. So I'll walk through the columns here just really quick. The one that Patrick is mousing over right now is the number of projects that have been selected for file QA. And so selected is our way of talking about saying, hey, you picked a project, an energy model, and you marked it as, hey, we're going to do QA, file QA on this project. And this is to show kind of your intent to the things that are in progress that you're working on currently, and helps you keep track of anything that is in progress or done. The next column over is kind of the record of what actually is done. So this is going to show you two numbers. The number on the left is the number that you have submitted to ResNet. So it's going to show you've completed the checklist for file QA checklist, and you press submit, and it goes to ResNet. That's the number on the left. And the number on the right, the out of number, that's the total required. How many file QA this person needs to have completed based on the number of registered ratings that they've done so far.
And David, I just want to add one thing. I'm in the Ekotrope organization, and Ekotrope, we aren't submitting homes, but that's why these numbers are a little junky. It is much clearer when you're in an actual provider organization that has submitted homes
Yeah.
and things like that. So that's why these numbers may seem a little wonky, but uh, the
Yep.
the concept is there.
Yep. And so for each of these columns at the bottom, there's a little info icon. And if you mouse over each of those, it will tell you exactly what data and what projects are being counted in each of these columns. Part of our development process for this tool was to review the calculation and the counting and the QA checklist with ResNet. And so they reviewed these and gave us like the approval that yes, we are an approved QA checklist and our counts are accurate. Of course, they are reviewing from Kibana, so there's some part of that there is you need to make sure that things are lining up perfectly. They should line up as well. And if they aren't, we help you figure out why and resolve those issues quickly. So the next four columns are where things get complicated. It's the new 2026 numbers. We have the DQA and NQA. And these numbers, this is the same thing as file QA. The projects that have been selected for DQA, and then how many of those have you submitted to ResNet out of how many are required. And I'm going to drop into the chat now some of the resources we have developed to help explain how DQA and NQA work, because I think it is quite complicated, and I know that it's very complicated to explain. And so we've developed some diagrams and flowcharts about how DQA and NQA work out, and I think they're pretty helpful. So I want to share them here. They're all in our support articles, and feel free to use them even if you're not using QA Track, because I think we use similar language, and it's those diagrams are helping some of our customers. So that's the DQA and NQA. On this dashboard, you can also toggle between HERS and Energy Star. So you can see projects that are Energy Star certified and keep track of that. The other piece on this dashboard that's important is where Patrick is going there is you can see an annual total and you can also see quarter by quarter totals. You will have to press refresh to update that information, but this will now filter down to just Q2 of 2026 so that you can make sure you're staying up to date on a quarterly level if ResNet's really asking you for that quarterly number or on an annual number if that's okay for you and your ResNet review. The other thing that Patrick was insinuating earlier was that QA Track can automatically select file QA projects for you. It can do it in two ways. Yeah, the first way is it can grab projects as they're being registered with ResNet and put a block on it to say, hey, we selected this project for file QA. We're not going to register it now. We're going to do the QA, approve it, and then register with ResNet. We know that there's third-party providers that prefer to work like that. So we've supported that kind of workflow. And this is kind of a back-end setting that you have to turn on that Patrick's showing now in your organization settings. And we call that instant QA selection. It's instantly selecting QA on project registration. That selection will make sure you are within 10% of that file QA quota for file QA. It can get a little bit off, like one or two file QA, just because it's hard to deterministically randomly select projects in real time. The other way you can select is with the auto select button, which Patrick is showing in the top right here. And you can do this for a particular quarter or the entire year. And this is going to look at all of the projects that are registered with ResNet in this particular time period. And it's also going to say in this time period, how much file QA does each person need? So if you've already done, if HERS Rater has done 100 projects in a particular year or particular period, and you've already done 7 file QA for that person, this will say, oh, there needs to be 3 more file QA selected. It will look at all of the available projects to QA in that period and will randomly select 3 additional ones to QA. So this is much more random because it's a random selection out of a set number. And this is, I'd say, more people are probably doing file QA after projects have been registered with ResNet than before. So this is the way to do that. So this is the dashboard and the auto selection. And happy to take any more questions, but I think I'm passing it back to Patrick at this point.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, David. So again, we have the two main tasks of QA Track. Bring the QA checklist into the building design, make it really easy to review everything right there with the energy model. And then number two, give you peace of mind in terms of making sure you're performing enough QA. And that's what this dashboard is for. So, all right, I'm going to now flip back to the slide deck. So just bear with me.
While you're doing that, I'll answer a couple questions. Samantha asked, is there a way for QA Track to automatically remind individual raters that they need to take care of a needs revision item? That's a great idea. We don't have that today, but it's certainly in our idea bucket of things we want to do. And so that's a great recommendation. And it's not there yet, but hopefully soon. The second question is about the HVAC QI QA section. And currently in QA Track, we have that button that says select, mark everything as satisfactory. That button does not work for that section. The reason for that right now is because there is kind of logic and contingencies for those questions depending on how you answer them, other questions pop up. So we haven't done that right now, but I could certainly see that there's some value there as well to make that a little bit simpler to check all those questions.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Yep.
All right. So we're now going to go a little into the future. I'm going to look forward a little bit. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about some integrations and some other tools that we think play quite well with QA Track. Specifically, the new file library that everyone now has access to, as well as Onsite, our inspection app. So the file library will bring, it basically allows, you can think of it almost like a Dropbox, but in your Ekotrope project. It allows you to put all your supporting documents in one place. You can name and tag photos based on what happened during the inspection. That is automatically done if you're using Onsite. But again, it allows you to say, hey, this project got marked for QA. Go ahead and put all your photos, your inspection report, your plans, your manual J's, your everything into that project. And that way it's all right there. And you don't have to, as the QAD, you don't have to go chase and track down all this information. Um, oh, uh, then next, I'm going to go a bit more into that. Let me actually go into the file library here. Or here, I'll stick with this actually. All right, folks. Okay, we're now going to talk a little bit about more about file and onsite. So onsite, this is our new inspection app. It allows this is something we're planning to add in the coming months. The ability to complete the field and pre-drywall QA checklists through onsite. So any photos you've taken during the QA can be automatically sent to the energy model. Also, if you're filling out the QA checklist while you're in the field, it will automatically reflect those entries back in Ekotrope. So you'll be ready to kind of review and submit it to ResNet. And we support, whether it's ride along or blind, other QA methods. How this can work for a blind QA versus a ride along. A blind QA, it could pull in the fields. Yeah, go for it, David.
Oh, just really quick, you're not sharing your screen anymore.
Oh, no. It says I am. Interesting. Oh,
There we go. That's
sorry
working.
about that. You all see this slide?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'm not sure what happened there. Um, okay. Yeah, so blind QA, ride along QA. So blind QA, we would be able to pull in information from the energy model into the inspection checklist. So while you're there kind of replicating that inspection, you're able to see right there at your fingertips what the inspector saw or came away with. And ride along QA, you'd be able to complete the exact same checklist that they're using. One thing that we also have planned is similar to the QA track block that is available in the building design. We'd like to support the ability to see your files that you've put into the energy model in the building design. So you could have your energy model, you could have the photos that were taken during inspections or uploaded, and the QA checklist all in one window. And be able to submit to ResNet right there. It's kind of all in one place, so you don't have to have a bunch of screens up. Okay. I am going to jump back real quick and show you a bit of how the file library can look in Onsite. if you're using it. So if you are using onsite, you are filling out your inspection form and taking photos at specific places. So when you see your, for instance, your, um, dishwasher, I can say, here's my dishwasher photo. Now, obviously, this home didn't have a dishwasher installed, so they took a photo of a blank space. If I wanted to check, hey, show me my elevation photos, I could do that. And all this sorting is done automatically through onsite, um, as well as tagging. So you can also tag things. Looks like they don't have any lighting photos. But that's how the file library can play well with onsite, is it can really bring in all the information you need. So if I wanted to say, hey, show me my mechanical equipment, okay, I have a bunch of photos here, and you're able to blow them up and, oh, there's my model number. All right, so you're able to bring this all into one place. All right. Um, and if you were doing the QA through onsite, you could have QA photos, inspector photos, pre-drywall photos, final photos, all those things could be easily filterable here. All right, I'm going to go back to the slideshow here. All right, so this next section, this is a little bit out there, and we're going to go back to kind of the big picture view of QA. Um, you know, as an industry, why do we do QA? What is its purpose? Um, and we think it plays a really important purpose, but we think there's a lot of parts of it that are maybe less valuable than others. So we ran through a thought experiment where, and this is actually from a presentation that David and I did at the RESNET conference. We asked ourselves, if we had all the documentation and a connected workflow, how many file QA questions could you answer basically without human intervention? Uh, the file QA checklist, it's a lot about, do you have the right information and does it match the energy model? And obviously, QADs play a really important role, but we found that almost, the majority of questions could likely be answered by an AI solution. And we'll go through a few examples. And this is not to say, hey, QADs, we don't think what you're doing, a computer could do it. This is more to say that some of the questions in the file QA checklist, it's like we can speed that up. We can make it easier to answer so that you have more time to spend, mentoring new people in the industry, working with builders, doing the things that, your experience that led you to becoming a QAD allows you. So a few specific questions that we asked, um, rating date, and are all the RFIs and modelers and are all of the IDs correct? Well, if you're using Ekotrope onsite, uh, we can pretty much answer this question now because we know who was completing the inspections as well as uh, who is listed on the energy model. Um, Another question, elevation photos. Well, if photos are automatically named, um, you know, a tool could say, hey, QAD, here's your elevation photos. We're pretty sure these are elevation photos, but do they look good to go? And you just say yes. And then you don't have to go look for them. You don't have to do anything. It's all just right there for you. Um, Another example we had, I guess that's all of them. But there's a number of them. We'd be happy to, talk through more of this as we get closer. I think this is all a ways away, but this is more of a thought exercise for kind of where we see all of this going. Um, we think QA is really important, but some of the questions are not necessarily valuable uses of a QAD's time. Okay, to wrap it all together, QA Track, it is a robust alternative to ResNet's QA tools. It automates the burden of QA review tracking. So you always know where, how many ratings or how many QAs need to be done, how many have been submitted on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis, for HERS, for Energy Star. QA Track also streamlines the process in terms of filling out the checklist. So you can be more efficient and spend time on things that matter. And, you know, I think there's a lot of room for ResNet QA and QA Track to grow over the coming years in terms of what we're focused on, what questions we're answering, and how it all works. So um, with that, we're gonna uh, take some questions. But thank you all for attending. Um, all right.
Yeah, thank you. Let's pull up some questions. Well, actually, we've answered most of the questions already.
Okay.
But looks like, yeah, we'll get a few more in here, I'm sure. Um, so first one is, does QA track support sampled ratings? I believe that's something that I forget how ResNet supports that. I don't think it's in their QA checklist um, on their app, but maybe in a spreadsheet. But does QA track submit support sampling?
Um, yeah, we do not. So there, I believe there is a sampling QA checklist. We do not support that currently. But in terms of the burden of QA, the tracking, I believe, is still the same. So even a sampled rating still counts towards someone's QA burden, the same as a non-sampled rating.
I think there might be some slight differences on QAing sample sets and whatnot
Yeah.
that have different counting that we don't have either. Um, then Tracy asks, will auto select be available for field QA? And for that, happy to talk about that. We had not planned on doing that. And the reason that we were not planning on doing that is we heard from, others, but maybe this is changing, is that it's a kind of a scheduling problem to randomly select or truly randomly select a QA, field QA from a set of projects where we don't know your upcoming schedule of things that you are going to be going out to do a final or pre-drywall checklist. Of course, that is changing a little bit with, people using our inspection app. We're knowing a little bit more about that, so maybe that changes things. But right now, we're not planning to do the auto select for field QA.
Mhm. Um, yeah, a few other things I'll add, just in terms of, next steps if you are interested. You can feel free to email us at, I'm Patrick at ecotrope.com. You can also just email info@ecotrope.com. And we'd be happy to, talk you through uh, how QA Track could work for your organization. Um, we also have some, uh, kind of bundling opportunities with on-site. So, um, there's been a lot of interest from on-site users. A lot of them also use QA Track. So, um, there is an ability to do that. Um, all right. Anything else? Looks like we don't have too much else. Yeah, we're excited to continue pushing the QA track tool forward. We've spent a lot of time this year uh, getting us compliant with the 2026 RESNET requirements, but we're excited to continue to move it forward. Yeah, David?
Yeah, a couple more questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We have a question about DQA and NQA. Are those counts automatically updated when attached to multiple raters when QA checks are submitted to ResNet? And the answer is yes. We are keeping track of how all of that logic works to whether or not it can be a QA can be counted for just that person or that person plus the rater of record. And when you complete a field QA in Ekotrope, you specifically say who this QA is QAing. And that Patrick is pulling up allows us to be really particular about how we apply that logic. So he's going to go over here to field QA. And so you can see this is NQA applies to Harrison. And so this will deduct off of his NQA count. And then the DQA counts are handled on the back end of that. So that's all taken care of.
Yep. Yep. And we also support QA procedure, which is another thing we've added relatively recently.
Yep. And then yeah, when we submit it to ResNet, then they get that same information.
Mhm.
Um, then Ben asked how to get access to the on-site app.
Oh,
On-site's a separate tool to Ecotrope Radar. So if you want access, please reach out and we can talk through getting access and using on-site. If you are a QA track customer, it's something new that we're testing and trying here is providing access to on-site for filling out the field QA checklists. So if you're a QA track customer and you want to try that, happy to do that as well. Um, then okay, we have some more NQA and DQA questions. Um, so if a singular rater is responsible for all field inspections and modeling, do we need to list them under other raters? Uh, no, you do not. If a rater of record did is all the inspections, you just have to list them as the rater of record. You do not need to list them as an additional user. Then so you would always list the NQA person. For field QA checklists in Ecotrope, whether that's pre-drywall or final, you will have to list the NQA person in order to submit that to ResNet. Yes.
yep. All right. Um, well, thank you, everybody. I think that's about it today. But yeah, we'll continue to keep you updated as we add new features to QA Track. We'll likely also continue to do updates as we add new things to our on-site inspection app. Uh, and we'll also keep updating Ecotrope Radar. There's always new and exciting things happening in Radar as well. And like I said, this will be posted on our YouTube page, and everyone that registered and showed up will be receiving a follow-up email. So um, with that, I think we can give everybody a few minutes back for their hour. Um, but thank you all. Appreciate it.